What's going on, everybody? It's your boy 813 South coming at you yet again. Wanted to give you a quick wrap up on what happened in the wrestling industry this week. So much is going on. A lot of people talking about everything. I want to quickly give a shout out. I'm sorry, to PCO and Brody King for becoming the new NWA Tag Team Champions, winning the Crockett Cup. So congratulations to those guys. I saw on Twitter with the Rock and Roll Express. Wow, really impressed to see the Rock and Roll Express in the ring. Cornette was great on the mic at the NWA event. Uh, Nick Atlas, uh, Magnus, of course, for y'all who remember him in TNA, defeated Marty Scurll to keep the NWA Heavyweight Championship. I don't know what the NWA is going to be doing with themselves. I noticed that Nick did send out a tweet stating that it's time for them to, I think, like move on or to I guess stand on their own and try to do their own thing, like Ring of Honor, is what I'm taking. But congratulations to the whole NWA for putting on an event. I caught bits and pieces of it. I didn't see the whole thing, but I definitely will be catching out the whole thing. So again, congratulations on the new NWA Tag Team Champions, PCO and Brody King, for winning those titles. They have been vacant since September 2017, I believe, from what I read and what they were talking about the other night. Um, Tonight, also, Impact Wrestling will be holding their pay-per-view. Um, I started to want to get it and look at it until I saw the price of it. It was $39.99 on the fight, and I don't think I'm going to pay that much for Impact Wrestling. I've been kind of keeping up with what's going on in Impact, but not a lot. I just been reading and like looking at the videos and been watching Johnny Impact and his wife. How he's doing this heel run and going against Brian Cage tonight for the Impact Heavyweight Championship. I think it's Impact still, not sure, but I'm pretty sure they'll put on a pretty decent pay per view. But let me get in here and jump in on what everybody's been talking about, and that's the whole Luke Harper um, thing and how the I don't like to really call them superstars. I like to call them wrestlers. I like to call them what they are. Let me just give you my 2 cents, as I always say. On the Luke Harper situation, Brody Lee, I remember him wrestling in the Independence for Combat Zone Wrestling back in the day. Um, I have to agree with everybody. If you're not going to use the guy, man, let the guy go. Uh, he, to me, was underutilized. I thought they were going to give him a nice push besides Intercontinental Champion. I thought they would at least put him in the main event scene on SmackDown once they had broke up the Wyatt family, but they didn't do that. So I don't know why you're going to keep the guy and not even use him and everything like that. So I think that that's just Vince being petty, the WWE being petty, and things like that. Something I do want to talk about more of in the WWE, and this is just my thought. I've been looking at the ratings dropping. The ratings for Raw and SmackDown have been steadily plummeting. Excuse me. Um, Dean Malenko got fired or quit. Another writer, along with Dean, he quit the company. And I've posed this question before, and I keep posing this question, and I would like to hear from wrestling fans. So please leave a comment down below. Um, I'm starting to get a feeling, and I know I'm probably wrong about it. It's just a feeling that I'm having. Dang, there's something wrong with my nose there. The darn band-aid I had on there. But anyway, I'm starting to wonder because Vince McMahon won't step down. I'm starting to wonder if maybe Fox officials or board members are going to try to start forcing Vince to step down. Let me know what you think about that. Will Vince let the company go into the hands of his kids and Triple H? Will Vince stay there until he dies, or Will people force Vince out of being over the WWE creative process and in charge, period? Because of the viewership that problems they're having, some of the deals that he's making with Saudi Arabia and things like that, a lot of stuff he's been doing rubbing people wrong way. Producers quitting or getting fired. I saw that Dean Malenko is already set to appear at Starcast 2. So that's a good thing. But yeah, I mean, so many people with the incident with the Road Dog, the guy, I believe last name was Schilling, that did the Bret Hart, excuse me, mine couldn't process for a minute there, who did the Bret Hart speech. He got fired. You got R. Anderson who left. You have Dean Malenko now who's gone. Now notice that they're bringing in a lot of TNA guys to be producers, and I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I mean, you have Jeff Jarrett, Sanjay Dutt, um, Abyss is producing for them. And to me, it's like, okay, but it's not like they did a whole lot of good things in TNA. So I don't know if they're just trying to get new blood in there or people are really butting heads with Vince so much. But yeah, man, it's a lot going on within the WWE that is really crazy, and a lot of people are getting fired, and a lot of wrestlers are want to leave and don't want to show up for work anymore, and we're just less than a month away from Double or Nothing. So a lot of people are calling it the AEW effect. I think it's a little bit of AEW, but overall, I think it's just the whole wrestling scene, period, with people now can go to Ring of Honor and New Japan and with All Elite Wrestling starting up and things like that. So I think now people are looking at this like, hey, we finally got other places to go. We don't have to suffer here in WWE and suck up and kiss up to the WWE. We can take our talents elsewhere and make money and control our characters and our creativity and take our careers where we want to take them and things like that. So I'm starting to think that there's a lot of wrestlers getting tired of the WWE right now. And I've also noticed what is really, really ironic. Besides the whole CM Punk thing and the Pac, aka Neville, back in the day, since I think guy name was John Oliver, it seems like since the John Oliver thing happened and where he was talking about the WWE, I know that's when a lot of wrestlers have started talking about jumping ship. And I want to touch on one thing that he talked about in there. He showed where they're independent contractors when he was talking on the show and things like that. Yet the WWE has their contract to where they're supposed to be exclusively to the WWE or World Wrestling Entertainment. I think people are starting to look at that and be like, you know what? The contracts are kind of worded funny. And if I'm not getting used at all, why don't I just leave this company and go somewhere else? And I'm not just talking about Ring of Honor. Let me correct myself. It's not just Ring of Honor. It's just not AEW. It's not just New Japan. MLW is coming along. PWG is another one that's coming along. I watch those guys. There's a lot of indies that are coming up and coming out and stuff. The NWA is starting to do a lot of things. Although I think keeping the title on Nick Atlas for this long is starting to wear a little thin on me. I mean, yeah, he lost it to Cody, but then he got it right back. And I don't know how to feel about him as the champion. But I mean, if the guy's the only face that they got right now, then by all means keep the title on him and things like that. So I would like to see what they're going to do with their roster in the NWA. But yeah, overall, man, I'm things are just weird in the WWE to me. I think these guys are feeling the pressure from the other companies, man, and I think it's time for Vince to just step aside and let the young guys take over. I've been saying that for years, and I think it's just time, man. there's so much friction going on within the WWE. Sasha still doesn't want to show up and things like that. The whole Luke Harper situation, again, producers quitting or getting fired. And a lot of them are saying that they're butting head with Vince. And so I think the investors and, excuse me, not the investors, the board of directors are going to start looking at this thing. And I got a gut feeling eventually they're going to try to start forcing Vince out of his position because they've tried it before. I think they tried it like 2 or 3 years ago. They were talking about things then about trying to get Vince out, and they wanted a certain company to take over and things like that. So yeah, that's one thing. Now I want to touch on what I think should happen for Money in the Bank. I don't know if Raw's going to do their Money in the Bank and SmackDown's going to do a Money in the Bank, or is it going to be a joint thing? They haven't really made that clear. I think at this time, the person who should win Money in the Bank is Drew McIntyre. Um, Drew has put in a lot of work since he's returned. And to me, Drew's character is so strong and so dominating if they let him do what he does. And he's the ultimate heel right now. He's like the hitman for everybody, and he's trying to take control and show these guys to do the business the right way and things like that. I would have Drew McIntyre win the Money in the Bank, and I would probably have him cash it in at SummerSlam, whether it be against Kofi or Seth Rollins. That's completely up to the WWE. But I think I would like to see Drew McIntyre take it for the men's. As far as the women's Money in the Bank briefcase goes, man, there's so many ways you can go with that. I don't want Charlotte. I don't want a blonde to win. Let me put it to you that way. So, well, don't give it to Dana. Hopefully, excuse me, y'all. Sinuses are bothering me today. Um, I wouldn't mind if they actually gave the Money in the Bank, excuse me, briefcase to Ember Moon. Let's start highlighting her talents. Let's get her involved in some storyline. Let's get her the Money in the Bank briefcase. And your whole storyline would be, hey, what have you done since you've been on the roster? You've just been in the back and things like that. And so let's say week after week, you have people trying to take the Money in the Bank briefcase from her because she hasn't, quote unquote, earned it because she hasn't been on TV or anything like that, and you haven't done anything. Then let's start showcasing her talents. Let her go for a couple of months and things like that, and let her cash it in before SummerSlam or at SummerSlam as well. It's time to put Ember Moon into the spotlight, man. Give me a fresh new face. I loved her down at NXT. I don't know what they're doing with her, but she needs to come out there. It's like every time that she gets out in the front, for some reason they keep having her and Naomi locking up and doing a stare down. They've done that, I believe, now 2 years in a row at the Women's Battle Royal at WrestleMania. So let's put Ember Moon in the spotlight more. Again, that would be my storyline. Let her win the Money in the Bank briefcase, and then you have everybody griping and complaining like, "Who is Ember Moon? You've done nothing here in the WWE since you moved up to the main roster. Yes, you were the NXT Women's Champion and things like that, but that's the storyline I would go with. It is showcase her talent and let her do her thing and get some wins and become a suitable contender for the SmackDown Live's Women's Championship. And if you want to put the title on her, I have no problem with that. But let's build her up, please, WWE. So with that being said, there's not too much I want to talk about. The world of wrestling this week was on fire. It's going crazy. Monday Night Raw. We're going to get ready for yet another Raw. The whole Firefly thing was crazy to me. I didn't like it at first, but once I started sitting down, looking at it, and dissecting what other people were saying, I'm just going to wait and see. I still do not want to see Bray Wyatt as like a psycho kid killer. That's kind of crazy to me, but we'll see where it goes this week on Raw. I don't know what brand he's in. Somebody please tell me that. I don't know if he's on Raw or SmackDown. I don't know where they're going to put Bray at. I hope that they put him on SmackDown. That way, him and Roman can feud again. They had some pretty decent matches back in the day. I don't know how true the rumors are with them saying they're going to try to start a whole nother Wyatt family with Lars Sullivan and Nikki Cross. Because I believe Nikki Cross is no, is Nikki on Raw or SmackDown? I forget. So much they've been doing. They've been moving people secretly and things like that. Let's hope that the War Raiders have a new name there or keep their name. I don't know how we feel about that. Let's see if they change their name this week again. Let's see who else gets fired this coming up a week in the WWE and things like that. But yeah, man, this is just my little 2 cents I want to give you all. I'm getting ready for this Double or Nothing event, man. I can't wait to see it. That's where I'm at right now. I'm kind of a little drained from the WWE and things what's going on. That's why I checked out the NWA stuff. Again, I want to check out Impact Wrestling, but I'm not going to pay you $40 to watch that when I really haven't been keeping up with what's going on and things like that. But since that's all I got to say, oh, no, I rephrased that. Let me go back and touch on this NFL draft. Let me know how you feel your NFL team did. I'm a huge Buffalo Bill and San Francisco 49er fan. I kind of like the moves they made. I still think that both teams need a quarterback. I'm not counting on Jimmy Garoppolo. I give him maybe another 2 years at best. Josh Allen, I'm gonna see how he does with Buffalo this year, man. They need to get them guys some more weapons. And of course, what's going on in my city, the 813 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man. They went crazy on defense. That makes no sense to me. We still don't have a running back. We don't have another wide receiver. I noticed we drafted a wide receiver, I think, like in the 6th round and things like that. But besides Mike Evans, man, what else do teams have to fear in the passing game? And with that being said, this is your boy 813 South. I will get at you guys later this week. Let's see how WWE treats us this week. I'm pretty sure we're going to be pulling our hairs out and everything like that and screaming at our TVs and everybody's going to go crazy. Thank God I don't have too much more hair. Got to get the bald head back. But until then, man, you guys take care and I'm out this piece.